Hello everyone and welcome to this lecture. My name is Burhanuddin and in this lecture we are going to learn about the ImageView UI component. So let's just open the Android Studio and create a new project. Okay, so start a new project, select the empty activity and click on the next button. I will name it as ImageView app. Click on finish and let's just wait till the gradles are being built. Okay, so now my Android project is ready, and now let's just jump into this activity main and let's just remove this constraint layout and change it to the linear layout and remove this text view from the design palette. So let's just remove this text view first and change this constraint layout to the linear layout. So I will type in linear layout. Okay, so now let's just switch to the design tab, and now here we want to insert an image view inside my linear layout. But first of all, let's just change the orientation of the linear layout. So for that, I will type in here orientation and change it to the vertical, because we know that by default the orientation of the linear layout is horizontal. Okay, so what is image view? So image view is basically a container to store a image which holds a image. So image view is basically a container which holds a image. So for adding the image inside the Android our project, first we need to add the images inside our Android project, and we need to add that images inside this res folder inside the drawable folder. So let's just go open a Chrome browser, any browser of your preference. I will prefer the Chrome browser, and open the pixabay.com and let's just download some images. Now whenever you want to use images for your project, you need to make sure one thing, that images must be copyright free. So just open the pixabay.com for the copyright free images. So I'll type here pixabay.com and let's just download some images. Okay, so this one looks good, so let's just download this one, and as you can see it is free for commercial use. No attribution is required, so we can use this image freely. So now let's just download it in the normal size. I'm not a robot. Click on download, and as it is getting downloaded. Now let's just download some other images as well. Okay, so let's just download the image of these apples. As you can see, this image is also free for commercial use. I'm not a robot. Download the image. And let's just download one more. Discover more. So as you can see, there are some cool and awesome images available at the pixabay.com, and let's just download this strawberry. Okay, click on this and download this image. So now as you can see, my images are downloaded. So let's just open them in my folder and check them out. So now as you can see, here are my images. Now we want to use these images inside my Android Studio project. But there is one thing, that I cannot use this kind of images, because this kind of images contain some special letters, like dash and numbers. But my image cannot contain. If I want to use this image, then it cannot contain that, because the only names supported in the Android Studio must be in a lower case. So instead I will remove this and I will type New York here. So let's just open these images which are inside my downloads folder right here. And what I need to do now is I want to rename these images. Okay, because in Android Studio project we cannot use special letters like dash and the numeric keywords. So I need to rename it. Okay, always remember the name of an image or any asset must be in a lower case always. There cannot be any capital case letter or any other special character. Otherwise it will show you an error. So I will change it to New York. Okay, so now these images are ready to use in my Android project. But wait, there is still something remaining. We can at the time of installation video, I have shown you that here it is. Whenever we want to add something, it must be supported by each and every type of devices. Okay, so there are different types of devices available with different screen density and pixel. So we want our images and every assets of our layout to be supported by the every type of screen. If any component will be not supported for that particular type of screen, then it may cause to the crash of our application, and we do not want that. So what we can do is we can in order to use the images perfectly and smoothly in all types of devices, we need to put each and every type of image of each and every screen type inside our Android Studio project, in order to let Android decide that which image to use and when. Okay, so for that, let's just know about what are the types of images we need to use inside our Android Studio project. So let's just open the browser here and click on the new tab, and now let's just search for the screen densities in Android. Here, open the first link which says developer.android.com, and now as you can see here from the demo, that how the screens how the two different screen sizes differ by the number of pixels. Okay, so now let's just scroll down. Here you can have the calculation or the conversion of pixels from the DP if you want, but let's just scroll down for now, and we are looking for something called this. Okay, so here it is: MDPI, HDPI, XDHDPI, XX HDPI, and XXX HDPI. I talked about this earlier in earlier videos, but now let's just look at them one by one. So the first density qualifier is LDPI, which stands for which is for resources for low density screens, okay, whose density is equivalent to 120 dpi. Okay, the next one is MDPI. MDPI are the resources used for the medium density screens, whose DPI are equivalent to 160 dpi. Okay, the next one is HDPI, which are for high density screens, and the next one is for XHDPI, which are for extra high density screens, whose DPI value is equivalent to 320 dpi. The next one is XHDPI, which are for extra high density screens whose DPI value will be equivalent to 480 DPI. And the next one is XXXHDPI, which are used for extra high density screens whose DPI value is equivalent to 640 DPI. The next one is no DPI, which are for all density screens, and the next one is the TV DPI, which are mostly used for the Android TVs. Okay, so from here you can understand that we need an image that can support all of these size of DPI. So but now there is a problem that we have an image, but it is in 1920 by 1280 pixels. Okay, but what we need is this image to fit to be equivalent to 120 DPI. We need a tool that can convert this image into these different density qualifiers. Okay, so what we need is a tool that can convert any image of ours into different screen density qualifiers. So how can we do that? So there is a tool available on the internet. So let's just search in the new tab for final resizer, or we can say Android final resizer. Give it a search and open the first link, and here it says final Android resizer, a simple yet powerful resizer for developers. So this is a tool which allows us, as you can see here, this tool is used to resize several images at once, and the output densities can be of LDPI, MDPI, TVDPI, HDPI, XHDPI, XXHDPI, and XXXHDPI. And the preserved image format for this tool will be of JPG or PNG. Now, using this tool, we can output the output in this several densities of MIPMAP type or a drawable type. Now, in order to download this tool, we just need to click on this link right here, and this will download Android Final Resizer for you. Now just make it now select the keep option, and it will install this Android Final Resizer for you. As I have already installed, I will not install it again, and I will just open it. So I will type final Android Resizer and I will open it. Now as you can see right here, this is a type of user interface. So now first of all, I need to select a resource directory in which the output will be stored. So for the output, I will choose documents. No, let's just store the output on this downloads, and let's just create a new folder known as ImageView app. Okay. Now I want all of my outputs to be stored on in that folder. So now all I need is just to drag and drop images here, and it will automatically create all the folders for me. But first I need the image of drawable type, not the MIPMAP type. So first, from this drop down right here, I will change MIPMAP to drawable. Now from these options right here, I can select that what kind of different output densities I want for my image. So I will keep it as it is, and now I will drag my images to this Android Finder resizer. So here are my images. Okay, 1, 2, and 3. So I will just drag them and place it right here, and as you can see, it is processing my images. It will, and now it's done. And now my folder must be created inside this ImageView app. So let's just open this ImageView app which will be inside my downloads, and here it is. So here inside my ImageView app folder, as you can see, it contains a folder known as res drawable. So if I open this folder, now you can see that it contains a folder of each and every types of screen densities. If I open this folder, as you can see, the images are stored here into the and which are of different DPIs. Okay, so these are for the HDPI and these are for the XXX HDPI. You might not notice the difference, but there are difference in the DPIs. Okay, so now what we need to do is just copy these folders inside our Android Studio project. But wait, we cannot do that directly through the Android Studio. We cannot put images directly inside this Android Studio project pane. So what we need to do is we need to open the location or where the drawables of this project are stored, and we need to place that folders inside that location. So how can we do that? So we just right click onto this res folder, and if you are using Windows, click on the show in Explorer. This will lead you to this folder. Now inside this res folder, as you can see, there is already a drawable folder which contains our IC launcher background and the launcher v24. Now we need to and this folder also contains some other folders for the MIP map, which we can use for our IC launcher, that is the logo of our application. And as you can see, that logo is also in different screen densities. Okay, so now let's just paste that drawable folders inside this folder, and it will automatically replace others folders. Okay, so let's just copy that folders. Okay, so I will select them all and I will copy them and I will just paste them inside this folder. And now as you can see, the images are added to this folder. Now let's just open the Android Studio again, and now as you can see, there is something changed in here. And now as you can see, there are 3 more folders added inside this drawable folder, and this folder contains the images for each and every screen density pixels. So now I can use these images inside my Android Studio project. So now let's just close this all first. Okay, so now let's just go to the layout and open our activity main layout and drop an image view. And now let's just select this New York drawable to be the photo for our image view. And now as you can see, finally we have added an image inside our Android app. So now let's just run our application to see what is happening here. So now as you can see, my application is up and running, and now you can see the that the image view is shown inside my app. Okay, so now let's just talk about different attributes of the image view. So the other attributes of the image view are same as the previous attributes. So now let's just search for the image view in the browser and open the image view, and open the first link, which is called developers.android.com. Remember one thing, you need to learn how we can you need to learn to read the documentations, because that is a thing which will help you to create better application with less efforts. Okay, so now as you can see here, that this android.widget.imageview comes from the android.view.view class. So as I told you earlier, that each and every component inside the Android is of view type. Okay, so let's just go back to the Android Studio, So this means that components or the attributes of the image view must be similar to the other attributes of my image view. Okay, other attributes of the view type that are so the attributes must be same as the text view and the hint and text view and the edit text and the button. So now I will give you some so let's just talk about some important attributes of the image view. The first one will be of scale type. Okay, so let's just change it to okay. So let's just talk about the scale type. So let's just search scale type here. Scale type. Okay. So from this drop down, you can see that we have different values for this scale type attribute right here. So if I change this value to center inside, as you can see, nothing happens because it will be already in center inside. If I change this to fit to start, it will change its position from center of the screen to the start of the screen. Let's just change this image to something else in order to see it in a proper way, because it is taking the whole vertical space. We are not able to see it properly. Okay, so let's just change this image, and to do that we need to change the src value for that. So let's just search for the src attribute. Now as you can see, here is a src compact attribute, but let's just change it to the code view. Let's just remove this src compact attribute, because we use src compact attribute for putting the images of assets, or we use src compact for the vector assets and not for the image views. We use src compact for the vector assets that we create inside the Android Studio, not for setting up the resources inside the image view. So for setting up the images inside the image view, we use another attribute known as src. So if I click that, I need to select one image view for my image view container. As I told you earlier, that image view is a container which holds some value. So I will select the drawable, and now let's just select this healthy because it contains the apples which are in horizontal form. Now as you can see that, let's just change this layout height to match parent instead, and now let's just change the scale type for that. Now let's just change the scale. Now let's just change the scale type from to center inside, and now as you can see, the image view is centered to the screen. Now let's just try and change it to fit end. Now as you can see, the image view's position is changed to the bottom of the screen. Now these two attributes, fit start and fit end, are based on the language of your phone. Currently the language in my phone is from left to right. That is why the fit start is putting the images from the top to bottom. That is from left to right. It is actually going from left to right, but because of the image is too big, it is showing us it is visible like that. It is going from top to bottom. But if my language of my phone is from right to left, then the fit start means at the right side, and in this scenario it will be at the bottom, and fit end means at the left side, and in this scenario it will be meant as the on the top. Now if I change it to the center, it will again put this image at the center of my screen. If I change it to the matrix, it will put on the left side of my screen. Fit xy, it will stretch the image to the whole screen, and if I enter center crop, it will again center it, and as I change it to the center crop, it will zoom the image a little bit to the center. Okay, so now let's just run the application and let's just see how does it look like. શું છે અલા યાર ચલો જલ્દી કોઈ ના કઈ ના આવે ચલો જલ્દી ચાલુ છે મારી કોડિંગમાં ચલો શું કરું So now as you can see my app is up and running and you can see the image view has અલા યાર મમ્મી યાર अब तो પહેલા ના કહો તમે મને હવે મને પાછો ખૂબ બોલવું પડશે
ધીમો પંખો ચાલુ કર
ના ના
લોમ જે મૂળ ઉછી ના કહો આવીને
શું બનાવે છે
ચલો જલ્દી રેકોર્ડિંગ ચાલુ કરો
નું કઈ કે મારિયા મને ના ખબર
યાર
એને સમજાતો કોનો એને સુની હાલત જો
ના કરા બધું નહીં બરાબર
અલા પપ્પા કોર્સ બનાવું છું
કોર્સ બનાવતા હાલતમાં ના હવે પંખો ચાલુ કર
અવાજ આવે છે અંદર નથી માઈક હમણાં માં પાસે ના ના અવાજ આવે બહારનો So now as my application is now up and running, as you can see the image view is centrally cropped inside my whole layout. And as I said, image view is a container, it is holding my image view at the center. Okay, so now let's just move to the other attributes of the image view. So now as we talked about the src compact that we use for it for the vector assets instead of image assets. So now let's just try and create a new vector asset for our project. So just click on the res folder, right click on the res folder and then so just right click on the res folder, click on go on new and then select the vector assets. So now click on this clip art. Now these are some icons that we want to use in our applications. So now let's just select any one of them. Let's just select this add photo icon and press on OK. Now we can change the name here. And as you can see, everything is lowercase and there is no dash between them. If you want to separate them, instead of space we have used the underscore. So now let's just change it to the photo icon, photo name, and then we can change the size of it, we can change the color of it. Let's just change it to pink, and then we can also change the opacity for it. Now let's just click on and there is another one thing that is enable auto mirroring for right RTL layout, that is right to left layout. So let's just click on that and click on the next button. Now this shows me that where my photo.xml file, that is my vector asset, which will be in the XML file format, will be added to in my Android project pane. Okay, so it will be added inside my drawable folder. Okay, so just click on finish, and now if we open this drawable folder, we can see that photo.xml file is added. So now let's just click on that and you can see that this icon is in the XML file and these are the XML codes for that icon. Okay, so let's just open the activity main, and now inside this image view, instead of this source compact source, let's just type in src compact Okay, so let's just remove it from here go to the design, search for src compact, and now from here let's just choose this photo icon and press on OK. And now as you can see, my photo icon is added to the image view, but as the layout scale type was center crop, it is not properly visible. So now let's just change the scale type. Okay, so it will give the better idea of scale type now. So if I center inside, as you can see, it is at the center of my image view. If I fit to the start, as you can see, it is at the start, that is on the left side. Okay, but basically we do not use vector assets on the main main layout. We use the vector asset generally on the action bar or something. We will do it in the upcoming videos, but for now let's just remove this src compact and change it to the image view. Okay, so let's just remove it, press on enter and change this image view. Let's just switch to the code tab and change the image view with the src and change it to the New York photo. Okay, so I want it to do to fit at the start, and change the height of this image view to match parent to wrap, from match parent to wrap content. Okay, so now so as you can see, there is some extra space which was due to this image view's height. Okay, so let's just add the background to this linear. So let's just switch to the code and add background to this linear layout, and let's just say the background to be same as the action bar, that is color primary. And let's switch to the split view in order to get the preview of what we are creating. Okay, so now what I want is to add a button here, so that whenever I click on that button, the image view up right here gets changed. Okay, so for that let's just enter another button right here. Okay, so now let's just set the width of the button to be match parent and the height of the button to be wrap content. Now let's just change the background of the button to be white. So I'll type in background and background of the button to be white. Okay, another F. Okay, and now let's just add some text on the button, and let's say the text to be change image. Now I want the font color to be same as the background, so I will say font text color to be color primary. And now let's just increase the size of the font a little bit, so I will say text size, I want it to be 20 dp 20 sp. Okay, now make it a little bit bold, so I will say text style and I will make it bold. Okay, so now let's also add some margins between this button from the left to right. So I will say margin on the left to be let's just say 20 dp 20 dp. Okay, 20 dp, and margin on the right to be 20 dp as well. So now let's just close this and also add some padding. No, it's fine. Okay, so let's just close this at the closing tag, and now we are done. So now what we want to do is we want to change the image on the click of this button. So let's just provide the ID to both of them. So I will put ID and I will give this button an ID of btn1. Okay, and now for this image view I will give the ID, I will change the ID to img1. Okay, so now let's just move on to the Java file. So inside my package name, here is my Java file. So in the main activity, let's just first initiate this variable. So first of all, I need to initiate the button, or let's just run our app and look how does it look. Okay, so this is how our application looks right now. So first of all, let's just open the Java file and start implementing our codes. So first of all, I will define a button inside my Java file. So I will write private button, or I will name it as btn1. I need to import the class for the button, so I'll click on Alt Enter and import the class. Next, I want to initiate create a reference for the image view. So I will type image view, name it as img1. Okay, so let's now initiate them. So I will say btn1. Now I am sure that this btn1 will always take a value of button type. Now let's just connect it with our layout, that is find view by id r.id dot, the name of my button is btn1, and semicolon at the end. The next one is the image view, so I will say img1, and I'm sure that this variable will always take the value of type image view. Okay, so I will select that and then find view by id r.id dot img1, and then semicolon at the end. Okay, so now as we have studied 3 different type of listeners for listening the clicks of the user, on this button I'm going to use the anonymous on click listener. So for that I will type in btn1 dot set on click listener oh, is there a method set? Oops. Inside of this on create method, btn1 dot set on click listener, and then new on click listener. So this will create a listener for me, and inside this on click method I can implement my logic to change the images. Now I want to change the images on the button click. Okay, so what can I do now is just change the image programmatically. So I will write img1 dot, now it will give me all the methods that I can use with this image view. So what we want to do is set the new image resource. So what can I type that I want to set? Okay, so what can I do with this set method? I can set an image bitmap which takes a parameter of bitmap type. I can set an image resource which takes a parameter of resource ID. I can adjust the view bounds, set the baseline, set the color filters, I can set the padding. I can also set an image drawable which takes a parameter of drawable type. Now this seems a little bit familiar, as our image all the images lies inside the drawable folder. But for now there are dozens of methods of this image view, but for now I'm going to select the set image resource, as it will take the resource ID. So what can I do is directly specify the different resource IDs available right here to this on click listener. So Now I can specify that on the click of the user, I can say that r.id dot I want to change the image view from New York to strawberry. Now, as you can see, it is not showing me because it is not the correct way of doing that, because it is residing inside my drawable folder. So what can I do for that is r dot drawable, because it is residing inside my drawable folder, and now I can access all the images or all the assets residing in my drawable folder. So now what can I do is simply specify the name. I want the photo of strawberries when the user click on the next image button. Okay, so I will set the drawable to the strawberries. Okay, now what I want, let's just try and check whether this thing is working or not. Okay, so my application is up and running. Now when I click on this change image button, you can see now that the image is changed to the strawberries. Okay, so now what I want, if the user click on this button again, I want this image to be changed to the healthy, that is of apple's photo. Okay, so what I will write here, that img1 dot set image resource to r dot id dot, sorry, instead of id I need to write drawable dot healthy. Okay, so now let's just run our application and see what is happening. So if I click this change image button, now you can see that the photo of apple is set on my image view instead of photos of strawberries, and it looks a little bit of ugly here as the image is not set not scaled properly. Okay, so let's just let's just figure out why it is not scaled properly. So let's just open the activity main, and as you can see that the scale type here is fit start, which is not appropriate for this image view, and this height is also set to the wrap content. So what will I do? I will change this scale type to fit center. Okay, so this will fit the image inside my image view. Okay, so now let's just run the application and see how it looks. If I click the change image button, now you can see it is still having the same problem. Now this is a problem because in the activity main layout inside the image view, we have set the layout height to the wrap content. That means it will expand its position to the size of the content of the image view. As the image view is a container, it will expand to the size of the image, and we do not want that. So we need to specify a hard-coded value here. So instead of wrap content, I will type in 320 dps here as a height of my image view. Okay, so now let's just reinstall our app to apply the changes. And now if I click on this image change image icon, now you can see the image view is changed and it is scaled properly, but still there is a bug. I want on the first click that the image view should be changed to the image of the strawberries, but it is getting changed to the image of the apples. So how can I resolve this problem? So here is a mini challenge for you. Just try to give this challenge a go. Just pause the video and think that what we can do to solve this problem. Okay, so now what we want to do is to set the image of strawberries on the first click of the user, and then image of apples on the second click of the user. So we can do one thing is, what if we can keep account, what if we can keep account of the clicks of the user on the change image button. Okay, so we can do that. So how we can do that? If I can so let's just for doing that, let's just create a integer variable here as a constant. So I will type private static. Now static means throughout the whole program the value of my this variable will not change. Okay, so I will name as this is a constant, I will say public private static constant, oh sorry, private static final, and as this will be of integer type, I will specify the data type to be integer and I will name it as a count. Okay, and I will initialize this value to 0. Okay, now if a user clicks on for the first time, I cannot keep it static or in final, as this value will be modified later on. So when the user click for the first time, what I want is to increase the value of the count. So now I can say that count plus plus. Now what will this do? It will increase the value of count on each and every click. Okay, now what I want to do, on the first click I want the value to be of the count to be checked. Okay, if it is 1, then it should change the image to the strawberries, and if it is 2, it should change the images to the healthy. Okay, that is apple. Okay, so now I can specify the if condition right here, that if value of count equals to 1. Now remember one thing, in Java a single equals to is used to assign the value to a variable, and the double equals to is used to compare the value to the variable. So now I'm saying that if the value of count is equals to 1, then you should put the image resource of the ImageView to strawberries. Okay, and now I specify that else if the value of count is equals to 2, then you should specify and put the value of ImageView 2 to healthy. Okay, so now let's just run the app and see what is happening. So here is my application up and running, and now as I click on this image view, now you can see that the image view is changed to the strawberries, and now if I click on this image view again, it is changed to apple. So now what happens if I click on this image view icon again? Now it is frozen. Now the image view is not changing, but I do not want that. Okay, it should respond to the user click. At least it should told me that you are at the end of the images. Okay, so now what we can do is we can increase the value of count until we reaches to the count equals to 2. Okay, so for that let's just put another condition here, that if count equals to or we can say that if count is greater than 2, then we have to do nothing, but instead what we can do is if count is not equals to not greater okay, so if count is greater than 2, then we do not have to do anything, but instead of if condition we can put a while loop here, that while count is less than 2. Okay, so what I am specifying right here, that while the value of count is less than 2, you should increase the value of count. If the count equals to 1, then set the image resource to the strawberries, and if the value of count is 2, then set the image resource to the apples. But if the value of count is greater than 2, then do not do anything. Okay, so now let's just check the application that if it is working or not. If I click the image view once, as you can see, it is changed to the second image directly. So why is it so? Let's just run the application again, and as I click, it is again changed to apples directly. Okay, so this might be because the value of count is first time getting is 0. Okay, and first time it is not getting incremented. So let's just put this count, okay, right here. So now count will be incremented every time. Okay, so now if the I can specify, instead of while loop, what can I do is in right here I can specify another condition, if condition, that if the value of count is equals to equal, or if the value of count is greater than or equals to 2, then what can I do is I can show a toast message that you have reached to the end of the images. Okay, so what is toast message? We will learn about the toast messages in the upcoming lectures, but for now let's just understand that toast messages are a way to notify the users. Okay, so I will type toast dot make text. Now what text this make text method takes 3 arguments. Then the first one is the context, so I will write get application context. The second argument will be the message that I want to pass. Let's just close this pane so you can see it properly. So the second argument will be the message that I want to pass, and it will be you have reached to the end of the image is. Okay, and the third argument is the period of time up till which these images we want this toast message to be shown. It takes 2 values, whether it is short or whether it is long. So for that, type in toast dot length long or length short. So for now let's just select the length long, and at the end we want this message to be shown, so we must call a show method on this toast message. Now let's just run the application and see what is happening. If I click on change image, changes to strawberry. If I click on change image, it changes to apple. If I click on change image again, it's giving me a toast message that you have reached to the end of the images. If I click on that again, it is giving me the toast message again that you have reached to the end of the images. Okay, so now let's just implement one more thing, that if the images are getting changed, I want that user get notified that what type of image is being shown. So what we can do is add another text view up right here on the top of the image layer, image view, and I will say text view with the width of match parent and the height or to be frag content. Now let's just give it a text, as the first image is of New York, so I'll give it to the text as New York. Now let's just change the size and the color of the text view, so I will say text size to be 30 st and the text color to be white, and I want to center the text view, so I will use the gravity attribute, okay, and use the center, so it will center my text inside the text view. Now let's just make the text bolder, so I will type text style and select the bold value. It will bold my text, and then let's just give it a margin from the top, a little bit margin from the top, and let's just say margin from the top to be 10 dp. So, okay, so that's it, closing brace, and it's fine. So now let's just run our application and see how it's looking. So now as you can see, my application is up and running. So here is my text view, here is my image view, and here is my button. So as I click on the button, the image view is getting changed. Now I want the text view to be changed respective to the image, and again let's just add a little bit of margin at the bottom of this text view also, as it seems too closer to the image view. So I will write margin bottom. Okay, select this one and give it a margin of 10 dp as well. Okay, so now let's just run our application once again. Click on this button, and now it looks a little bit better. Let's just put the margin on this button also. So here it is. So margin from the top of 15 dp. Okay, so now let's just run the application. So now it's looking better. Okay, so now let's just move on to the Java class file. Now with the image views getting changed, I also want the text getting changed. So let's just create another reference here. So I will say private text view and give it a name txt text1 or txt1. Let's just import the class. Now this txt1 will always going to take the value of text view type, and then find view by id, and then r.id.txt1. okay, so let's just put the semicolon at the end. Okay, it seems like that I forgot to put the id on the text view, so I'll go back to the activity layout main file, that is my layout file. Okay, so I have not specified the id, so at the bottom let's just specify an id of txt1. okay, so now let's just move back to the main file, main activity.java file, and as you can see now the error is gone. Now inside our logic, we can specify right here, after changing or before changing the image resource, I will set the text to the strawberries. Okay, so that text is in my txt1. So I will say that txt1 dot set text. Now I want the text to be strawberries. Okay, so strawberries. Okay, so now let's just check that whether this is working or not. Okay, let's just open our application and change the image from New York, and now as you can see the text is getting changed to strawberries. Now let's just do the same thing for the apples. So now I can also specify that txt1 dot set text to be apples. Now let's just run the application and see whether it is working or not. Now let's just click on the change image button. Now on the first click it is changed to the strawberries, and now on the second click it is changed to the apples. Okay, now what I want, that on the third click, when the change image button is clicked, I don't want this toast message to be shown. Instead I want that these all views, that is the image view and the button view, to be invisible, and instead only text view to be visible, and it sets the text to be you have reached to the end of the images. So how we can do that? So give this challenge a go and try it by yourselves to solve this problem. Okay, so now we can specify the condition here that if the count is greater than 2, instead of this toast message, I can remove it. And now what can I do is set the visibility of the button and the image view to be gone. Okay. So what? So I will write that in image view 1 dot set visibility. हाँ बोलो.
પપ્પા બોલાવે.
हाँ 5 મિનિટ બાકી છે.
ચાલુ થશે ને મસ્ત છે. એટલી મોટી રાત છે આવી જાય.
I will set the visibility to be gone. Oops, not inside the braces. In the caps lock to be gone. View dot gone. Okay. Now for the same, I want to do the same thing for the button. So I will write btn 1 dot set visibility to be gone. Now let's just check whether it is working or not. Okay, so view dot gone. Okay, so let's just reinstall our application and see whether it is working or not. Now first click, second click, and on the third click, as you can see now, it is gone. Now what I want to do is set the value of the text view. So I can say that txt1 dot set text and string value you have reached at the end of the images. Okay, and txt1 dot align gravity. Okay, and and what I want also is to align this text view at the center of my layout. So what can I do is txt1 dot set gravity, which is used to align for the alignment of the text. I will say that set gravity. Instead I will say set layout gravity no, it will not work. Okay, so let's just run our application and see whether it is working or not. So now first click, second click, and third click, it now says that you have reached at the end of the images. So guys, okay, so that was it for these lectures. And in the next lecture we will talk about the Android layouts, different types of layout in Android. So see you in the next lecture.